Happy Monday, guys, or whatever day you're watching this on. We've got some interesting Bitcoin news. We saw some massive inflows last week. Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana ETFs pulled in a record $5.95 billion, nearly $6 billion in a week. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll look over Bitcoin and its chart. It's at a new all-time high. And then I said in my last video, I'll talk about Cleanspark's mining update. It came out a few days ago, but let's go over it. And then we'll take a look at Cleanspark's chart. But first off, this article, investors threw a large record amount of cash at Bitcoin and other crypto, Solana, ETH, racked up nearly $6 billion last week, and CoinShares revealed that investors put the most amount of money ever into Bitcoin investment products during a single week, to the tune of $3.55 billion. Now, Ethereum ETFs pulled in a $1.48 billion last week, and in the prior week, they saw some outflows, so this is a nice change in pace. Now, I'm skipping over a few things here and there. I'll leave the article down below for you, but I also wanted to mention this part. The ongoing U.S. government shutdown and an expected October interest rate cut from the Fed has led the price of Bitcoin, gold, and other cryptocurrencies to rally. Investors are trying to hedge against weakening currencies, these geopolitical headwinds, with this debasement trade. And Bitcoin is currently at all-time highs as of this current upload. As of the time of recording, Bitcoin is at an all-time high, 125,762. We broke our previous all-time high that was set in mid-August. This roughly 124,000. Now, what I would prefer to see Bitcoin do is consolidate. I wouldn't prefer to see it keep just running. I would love to see a base being established at this all-time high. Get some consolidation here. Let that RSI cool down. We are currently overbought for the first time since late summer, since July. And when we hit this point, we didn't really rally much more. We did see a cool down before we hit a new all-time high. What I would really prefer to see Bitcoin do is just consolidate here, let the daily RSI reset, establish this recent all-time high as a support, and then go on our next move up. Bitcoin to 150K is about a 19% move. Now, I don't necessarily think it'll do this in October. It could, but I do see Bitcoin getting to 150K by the end of the year. If we do somehow see a run to 150K just in October, there's a good chance Bitcoin can go even further. Finish the cycle off in November, possibly. Based on past cycles, usually we see things finish off right around November, sometimes early December. So there's a possibility if Bitcoin hits 150K in October, we might be heading to 180,000 around November or December. But if we do see more excitement in October, more running, more new all-time highs, I do think trimming a little bit isn't a bad idea. Now let's take a look at Cleanspark's mining update. There's also some other Bitcoin miners that have released updates. I'll talk about them in future videos. Cleanspark finally reached over 13,000 in their Bitcoin treasury and saw a year-over-year increase of more than 27% in their monthly production of Bitcoin and a 26% increase in fleet efficiency. We have a couple mentions of HPC and some interesting wording here. First off, Matt Schultz mentions that $200 million credit line from Coinbase, but towards the end of his paragraph, his statement is where things, I think, get a little interesting. Our business is evolving. We have the team, expertise, and assets to thrive at the intersection of energy, Bitcoin, and compute. 2025 was a pivotal year for Cleanspark, marked by strategic accomplishments, leadership transitions, and increased financial flexibility. With these changes complete and the mining operating business performing at scale, the company is positioned for success and evolution in fiscal 2026. They also mentioned their digital asset strategy, where they utilize their Bitcoin to make a yield off of it, which has helped to keep dilution at bay. As if those mentions of evolution wasn't enough, they also mentioned HPC outright to support hash rate growth, HPC expansion, and digital asset management initiatives. Cleanspark has executed multiple financing milestones, a $650 million convertible note offering with a 0% interest, share buyback of $145 million, and an effective conversion price of $24.66 with the purchase of a capped call, and another $400 million of capacity in Bitcoin-backed credit facilities. So they are definitely mentioning AI, talking about evolving, HPC expansion. I do think we'll see some announcements very soon regarding HPC, maybe a purchase of GPUs, things of that nature, so look out. Looking at their Bitcoin mining update, they produced 629 Bitcoin in the month of September. Their single day production was 21.71. Their average daily production was 20.9, and they produced almost 6,000 Bitcoin in the year 2025, 5,925 to be exact. Now look at these fleet metrics. Their hash rate is 50 exahash. Their average operating hash rate is 45.6 exahash. Their efficiency is among the leading in the industry, 16.07. Many others are in the 20s still. And they have a deployed fleet of 241,934 machines, holding 13,011 Bitcoin. They sold 444 Bitcoin, and they made $48 million from that just in the month, selling Bitcoin for lower than it currently is, $109,000 average price. Now, looking at Cleanspark's chart, I'm definitely discouraged by this bearish divergence. We have a lower high on the RSI, a higher high on the price. I would love to actually see some consolidation at this roughly $15 breakout area that we broke out of. A little retrace, some sideways action. Let the RSI cool down on the daily, so on and so forth. Let these moving averages creep up higher as we consolidate, and then it can go on its next move up. Perhaps on the short term, we get hung up right here at this roughly $18 area. If we come up towards it, this could be our next resistance here, this roughly 18. But a consolidation between 15 and 18, just bouncing around, consolidating, would be what I would love to see from Cleanspark on a chart perspective. But you know, this is the end of the year, towards the end of the cycle where Bitcoin sees new all-time highs pretty consistently, where the Bitcoin miners that hold massive amounts of Bitcoins should shine. The Cleansparks, the Maras, the Riots, those with a massive Bitcoin balance are going to immediately see a boost on their balance sheet because of Bitcoin's value increasing. We should continue to see their prices go up from here and see a pretty interesting year for the largest holders of Bitcoin. But how are you guys feeling about Bitcoin this week? Where do you think Bitcoin ends in October? Where do you think Cleanspark ends its price in October? This is just the beginning of the month, and it's already getting pretty exciting. We also have a very high likelihood of a rate cut coming towards the end of October here. This should continue to push up risk on assets. But how are you guys feeling? What do you think about Cleanspark's mining update? What do you think about all this ETF inflows? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.